Tonight, we are going to dive into a dark and intriguing channel. The discovery of this channel was entirely upon accident, but once I did a little digging, I had to share. Mornings Von Cozy. This is the channel we will be discussing. At an initial glance, it appears to be an average troll. But is it? To understand this channel, we must go to the beginning.
I was playing some money in the Danko Modern Warfare 3 today, and I got a Moab, so I thought you might like to see it. I'm just gonna show you the little bit at the end where I got it. I put it in my file share if you want to watch the whole thing. Oh wait, there we go.
Tomorrow we're going to feed the fish. Everyone's going. And we'll take a picnic lunch.
Okay.
Seems like a nice enough person, right? The initial inspiration for this channel seems to be quite simple: sharing fun gaming moments. Sadly, the channel has evolved into something far more menacing. As mornings continued to upload, they would slowly sprinkle in clips that they labeled as trolling. As harmless as these videos are initially, it does show Mornings enjoys antagonizing others. It is roughly at the 8-year mark, though, that we see a major change on the channel and the content it offers.
Greetings, pimps. Today we will be covering a very simple yes or no question: the 10
Greetings, pimps. In this video we will be swiftly dismantling libertarian socialism. All gun control advocates is simple. Keep in mind this is for anyone who is in favor of any gun laws whatsoever, which will include NRAs pimps. Today we will be dismantling another ideology. This one is quite similar to the last one, but seeing a frankly embarrassing video inspired me to do it anyway. Pimps. This is going to be a quick one. When it comes down to it, we all know people who hate capitalism or hate social.
If you don't understand what UPB is and why it's not possible to argue against in the context of debate, this video is too advanced for you.
Let's keep this one super short. Like with most people who hate certain ideologies, anti-capitalists base their beliefs
Quite different from what we saw prior, don't you think? If it weren't for the commonality between the initial content and the current, we could easily believe this to be an entirely different person. Mornings has now started to share ideological thoughts at this point in the timeline, and intentionally or not, also shown his own arrogance. Mornings seemingly thinks he is far smarter than the average person, as we saw in the clips previously, claiming that the content he is talking about is not for ones that do not agree with him. Now, if all we had was a self-absorbed troll, I would not be making this video. But before we dive into the next chapter, we should briefly go over some of the messages shared by Mornings. By doing so, we will be able to uncover some interesting double standards and some rather unsettling details. Starting with this video titled Terminally Online, Mornings discusses individuals that he considers are online too much. But listen to this clip. You may hear something familiar.
Of examples of the terminally online who spend their days in what is essentially a constant battle of screaming into the void, swearing to God they're smarter than said void, or others who scream in.
So, Mornings is criticizing others for claiming they are smarter than the others who are, as he calls it, screaming into the void. The very thing that Mornings is doing. This clip is one of the many that ironically condemn the very thing that Mornings has or is doing on his channel. This is an important detail to note about Mornings' content. He appears to have strong beliefs about how others behave, but does not hold himself to the same set of ideals. Secondly, I think it's also important to note that Mornings calls these types of videos schizo rants. We do not know if he actually suffers from mental health, but this would explain some of his behavior. Now, before we look over what Mornings labels as parody, and what I consider to be the most disturbing part of this channel, I want to discuss the About section of the Mornings Von Cozy channel. Let's start off with the description. Important disclaimer. All comments made on this channel are purely satirical and for comedic entertainment parody purposes only. This is a comedy parody channel. Do not take anything said seriously. All people seen on this channel are paid actors. These videos were filmed on a film set with professionals. Comments made by actors are not to be confused with real opinions of the actors. This is a staged comedic performance. So, if we are to believe what is said here, all of this content is to be considered comedy. But going through the videos, I find little to no humor. Most topics discussed on the channel are quite serious and do not have a sarcastic or joking tone. Rather, many are quite condescending and mean to prove how one or many groups are wrong. This, alongside the imagery of Paul Miller and Sam Hyde, makes the content all the more difficult to be seen as comedic. With that out of the way, I would like to show you what initially led me to dive into this channel. Scattered throughout the more recent videos, we see many claims of certain creators being child abusers or pedophiles. None of the claims appear to have any real evidence, but the creators do share something in common. They're popular. These creators are usually well known and receive large amounts of views. Mornings claims that due to the content these creators make, they are to be classified as predators.
Touched on the fact he is a child predator much, but this goes without saying. Just as with previous entries, his entire content log centers around attracting as many people with his LCD content as possible, giving easy dopamine to the clueless drones of YouTube and creating or furthering their addiction. This of course includes children.
It can be easily deduced that Mornings has created his own stories for many mainstream creators, claiming to know they make their content for very nefarious purposes. This, along with other claims of being able to identify child predators based on their physiognomy, leaves me with one major question. Why is this allowed on YouTube? This is not to say that all of Mornings' content should be removed. That is not at all the case. But video after video of labeling individuals abhorrently and with no actual evidence of any of the claims is worrisome to say the least. I actually found this channel around the same time that many creators were getting community guideline strikes due to discussing EDP 445 and their most recent encounter with yet another sting operation. These strikes fell under the harassment and cyberbullying section of the community guidelines. Let that sink in. The optimist in me wants to chalk this up to views. Maybe it's simply due to the lack of attention that Mornings' channel gets that makes the YouTube system not prioritize auditing the channel's content. But is that okay? I'll let you decide for yourself. There's plenty more content on Mornings' channel that we could dive into, but in my opinion, the content we have discussed is the most inflammatory. When surfing the wonders of the community here on YouTube, please always be mindful of what you decide to believe. Some people are living in a whole other world. Thanks for watching.